Hey fam, what's up? Welcome to MIKEroaggress'd. I'm so excited. I've been looking forward to this. This guy and I have been friends on the social medias, on the Twitters, you are kind of a bit like Twitter in that you have multiple names.
Yeah,
I
guess that's true.
What the fuck is your name? Like, I don't know if I should call you Seph or Chad. I'm just going with Chad Seph.
That's fair. Yeah, my Twitter handle is Chad Manley, but my real name is Seph Pelech, and so the reason we're talking here today is my book, and so my real name is on the book.
I feel like you got to pick one and stick with it. Right now, it's like Wonders with the ONE. It's confusing.
I don't think it's that big of a deal. If anyone on Twitter is really that confused, I just say that it's my pen name. Which really the opposite is true. Chad Manley is more my pen name or my stage name, I suppose. But yeah, I don't know. All the promotion for the book is on my account, so they know who wrote it.
Well, thanks for being here. How's your book release day been thus far?
Pretty good. The way the platform that does the hardcover printing works, I couldn't see any of the pre-order numbers until today. So I finally saw them today, and I was quite humbled by in a good way. I was very happy with how many people had pre-ordered hardcover copies. There were some pre-orders for Kindle as well. Paperback version should be up soon. That's the thing with Amazon. Sometimes it takes like 4 hours to show up. Sometimes it takes like 2 days, and I didn't want it to show up on Amazon too early, which is kind of, in retrospect, I probably should have risked that, because if it did show up on Amazon a couple days early, no one would get it until release date. But whatever. But yeah, no. Release day's been pretty good. Happy with the numbers, and sounds like people are getting their pre-orders. If yours is going to be late, as someone on Twitter pointed out, the name of the book is The Late, so I guess that's a little appropriate. But also, I'm sorry, that's not my fault. That's the carrier's fault or Amazon's fault. But don't get mad at me. Sorry, I just wrote it.
You know it's good once people are bitching.
Yeah, I guess that's true. If no one cared that it was going to be a couple days late, then I guess wouldn't be anything worth looking forward to.
So yeah, I didn't realize that until I started reading this one that you've written multiple books at this point.
Oh yeah.
So this is which one in your bookography?
Bibliography.
I knew there was a word.
This is my third book, but my second novel. So my first novel was, I have a copy of it, Come Out and Play.
Ooh.
You can get that in paperback and Kindle also on Amazon. It is I don't know if I should explain it too much, because it's not really what I came on here to talk about, but
explain it. Talk about everything.
Sure. Okay. And unfortunately, it's a little bit of a spoiler for the book, so just cover your ears for a few seconds if you don't want to hear. But it's a satire about sort of the LGBTQ cult and how it indoctrinates high schoolers, adolescent kids into that cult. And it is written. It's really a Trojan horse of a book. I wrote it to look and read and feel like a standard young adult novel, but it's actually a satire that criticizes the things that you might expect it to praise. And I kind of have to pat myself on the back, because it was subtle enough that even people in the gay romance subreddit were confused about whether or not it was a satire. So that was actually kind of funny to read. So that was my first novel.
Damn, I have to read this now.
After that, I released a novella. So it's pretty short. It's only like 80 pages, but it's a story called Despair. And that one isn't in print. It just wouldn't be worth printing if it's that short. So it's only available on Kindle. But yeah, that's a post-apocalyptic science fiction story. And now this, The Late, which is twice as long as both of those put together, I think.
That's what I wanted to get into, is for people who this is their first time hearing about it. Give us the description, the elevator pitch, what you will, of The Late.
So The Late. The Late is a historical fiction crime thriller that follows two men in London in 1810. One is named Charles, who is trying to rebrand the family tailoring shop after his father recently passed away, and he's trying to turn it into a premier fashion outlet in London. And the other man is, I need to make sure I get the names right because there's a lot of characters. The other name is Robert, and he is a body snatcher, which is somebody who would dig up dead bodies and then sell them to hospitals to be used as cadavers in anatomy lectures. And he is trying to get out of this business because it's very risky, and he's with some shady people who he knows are not, pose dangers to him. And these two men, Charles and Robert, share a very dangerous connection. And that's The Late.
And that's what you're going to leave people on. Yes. So I just started reading it. It is so good. The way you write is so cinematic. It's so good. And so I really wanted to have you on because I think it's really important. We got to support based artists. There's not enough support for any type of art on the non-left or the right. I don't know which you consider yourself part of, just people who aren't psychotically insane.
Yeah. Well, I might be insane, but
we're insane in a fun way, not like communist insane.
No, I appreciate that, and I totally agree. Especially, actually, a similar thing I think has happened with movies, where the guys on the YouTube channel Red Letter Media were talking about this a few weeks ago, where they said the problem is that streaming platforms have so devalued movies that trying to get people to pay $20 for a movie ticket, like, they're just not going to do it. Or getting them to pay $10 to rent a movie, they're not going to do it because movies have been so devalued that you can find them even like through legitimate avenues. You can find them for free or super cheap or bundled in with a subscription or something. So people just don't want to pay for movies anymore. And it's the same, I think, for writing, except it's been going on for a lot longer, where writing has been so devalued that people just don't want to pay for it. And I think that's a serious problem. And now with AI, and I talked about this a little bit on Front Porch Conservative, Brian, on his show.
Shout out to Brian.
Yeah, absolutely. Where... And I did say on his show, I'm not really concerned about AI taking away my job as a writer. And that's true. I'm not, because there's such a quality difference between something that ChatGPT produces and something that, an actual talented writer will produce. Mm-hmm. And I've seen enough ChatGPT creations that I can kind of I can recognize ChatGPT's signature. I can recognize like the phrases and the words that it leans on a lot, the same way that any writer leans on.
And these bitches just copy paste it. You can tell when there's like a dash with no space before or after. That's a dead giveaway.
Yeah.
They don't even like try to, I'll get ideas and put it in my own words. I was on a flight to LA. The guy sitting in front of me had his laptop open. He must have been like a screenwriter or something. I saw this man copy and paste out of ChatGPT into Final Draft. I'm like, and he probably works for a major studio.
I've seen enough recent movies that I believe ChatGPT writes a lot of those scripts because they suck.
I think ChatGPT can maybe do better than some of these scripts. Like, I've been watching the fucking Sex and the City reboot. Like, I can't imagine ChatGPT would even be this bad. Motherfucker. Sorry.
Hey, your phone fell.
Sorry, guys. I got a new phone, and it doesn't work with the stand I had, so I'm balancing it for tonight. Talk for a sec while I balance.
Okay, yeah. So I'm not concerned about AI. And since I said that on Brian's show, I guess I've thought about it a little bit more. And I'm not concerned about AI producing quality content or quality. I don't want to say content because it, again, so devalued. I'm not concerned about AI producing art. I don't think machines can produce art. I define art as a meaningful expression of the human condition in a creative, novel way. And machines are incapable of experiencing the human condition, so they can't express any experience of it at all. They can only copy what other people have done and try to emulate it. You can say, isn't that what you do? Isn't that what everybody does? Because we are inspired by other forces. And I would say,
not really.
To some degree, yeah. But I still have emotions. I still have human experiences. And I can still think of, artistic, creative, novel ways of expressing those emotions that I feel. Whereas ChatGPT has no emotions. AI and computers have no emotions. So that's the difference.
And it really is about passing on life experiences, passing along stories from your own life, from things that you fictionalize in some way. Like, a computer can't do that.
Right. And I've said before, writers only ever really write about themselves. They just get better at hiding it.
Yes.
But I'm not concerned about AI producing art. I don't think it's capable of it. What I am kind of concerned about is that people will so devalue legitimate art, they will become so desensitized and so used to just crap, just content, right? Just consume the thing and don't think about it. They will get so used to sort of slop, to the gruel of writing, that they will think that something produced by AI is art and artistic and creative. And people will not be able to distinguish between the two, not because AI gets so good, but because people's ability to recognize legitimate good writing and good art in whatever format, whatever medium, will that ability to recognize it will become so bad, they'll think that something a computer produces is creative and meaningful.
We really are at a place where art is being replaced by content, sort of in the way that news has been replaced by propaganda.
Well, and not to sound like an old person, I am like 110 years old, but
me too. Are you also in your gay 80s?
I don't know what that means, because they say gay 80 is 30, but all of the really big homosexual influencers on whatever social media platform are in their mid 30s. So I don't think that's really an apt comparison.
Okay, I like that. I mean, not that I'm in my 30s, but
oh, sure.
When I will be someday.
No, but not to sound like super old, but a lot of music that people listen to, I don't understand the appeal of rap. You might have just heard the rooster, sorry.
Oh yeah, I forget you're in Bumblefuck.
Yeah. I live in the middle of nowhere. It's great. But I like rap. I don't understand it. it just sounds like garbage to me.
I mean, I feel like rap is nothing compared to the shit that's being put out now with, this, it's basically like a step away from AI generated music, just kind of anything that's popular now. So fuck, I really sound old.
Yeah, it's just, and the fact that there are, shall we say, very financially and commercially successful musical artists who are creating music that a large swath of the population doesn't think is any good at all, and is like, I don't even think you should be calling this music.
I'm convinced Sabrina Carpenter is made of AI.
She sings like it.
She looks like it. She looks like if they typed into ChatGPT, reanimate the corpse of John Bonet as like a 20-year-old.
That's it. Someone at whatever her music label is just went to ChatGPT and was like, give me ideas for the next big pop star. And
slutty 20-year-old John Bonet Ramsey.
And they found some random chick who had the look, and they said, you're the next pop star.
What I was going to say, though, is I think, so first of all, movies, I think, have probably gotten worse than anything, like, because you have these Netflix type movies, these streaming movies, and it's sort of reached a point where you can't tell the difference. Like, it's happening often where there will be some straight to streaming movie that then they just throw out in theaters. I think, I might be wrong. I think Final Destination, the new one, was going to be one like that. The Mean Girls remake was going to be one like that. And so you do end up paying to see a movie that looks like the same shit on Netflix, and most stuff in theaters isn't much better. You have everything. My pet peeve with modern movies, aside from like the lighting and this very digital cinematography, they're all shot in close up because they spend no money on it. There's no cinematography, there's no atmosphere, there's no nothing. So they just shoot everything as close up as possible so you won't notice it.
Well, and I think that is, if you watch old TV, and I mentioned sorry, I keep referencing it, but on Front Porch Conservative, I mentioned that one of my writing.
We are Brian lovers on this channel.
We are. Brian, my fedora is right there. I'll put it on if it gets.
I love that you both wore them together. That made my day.
But I mentioned Rod Serling, who hosted The Twilight Zone from 59 to 64. And that show had a lot of close-ups on people's faces. It was, like you said, filmed very close up. Why? Because it was a television show when TV screens were about this big.
Yeah.
So people were watching in their living rooms. They had to film very close up so people could actually see the actors' faces when they were speaking and giving a longer monologue. I think the streaming thing is reverting back to that, where people are watching on their computers a lot, and so they have to film close up so people can actually see. It's not an issue with like the definition of the monitor or the laptop screen. It's an issue where it's just not that big, and if you have a wider shot on a smaller screen, it's going to look weird. And you're not going to be able to really appreciate the actor's performance if they're giving a performance worth noticing. So I think when you take that and then you show it on the silver screen, it, something gets lost in translation, and you wind up with a really tight close-up that feels way too intense in the theater, compared to if you saw that on your computer screen, you wouldn't even think twice about it.
Well, I think you just look at any, Sea Striker said, all these remakes, like, look at any remake compared to the old ones. Even they have the new I Know What You Did Last Summer coming out. You see the original. Even, it's funny, you take any mid or shitty movie from the 90s or 2000s, and it looks better than most better movies today. But you look at the original I Know What You Did Last Summer, and it's filled with atmosphere and cinematography and locations. And you look at this new one, and it's just all in close-up and all on these claustrophobic sets. There's no locations. There's no cinematography. There's nothing. It's like people have forgotten how to make movies or how to write. But I think the upside of this is not only the dip in quality, but also the agenda-driven bullshit that's coming out, is I think there's really starting to be a path forward for people like us, for people who are sort of more independent artists, that people are really going to be seeking out something different in the way that sort of online commentary has really put cable news out of business.
Yeah, and that's, one of the most heartbreaking things I think I ever heard was an interview or something. I should know the source, considering how well it sticks in my memory and how much it hurt to hear. But it was a guy who was talking about how he got into screenwriting. And he said that he decided to become a writer when he realized how you could use writing to push a social message. And it's like, I was like,
works for
that's
Disney.
not the point. Like, I'm not trying to sound like a jerk here, but you are writing television, which is entertainment. So entertain me, whether that's comedy, whether that's a thriller, whether that's a cop procedural show, whatever. Entertain me. If you can find a way to subtly weave in a theme that touches on a social matter in that entertaining story, okay, I'm more open to that. But the idea of, I'm just going to write this story that pushes this social message, it's like, now you're writing propaganda. And that's kind of what my first novel, Come Out and Play, was about too. About, this masquerading of propaganda as either art or as education or as something useful. But really it's just someone pushing an agenda for their own sake, so they can feel better about themselves, and they don't care whose lives they're screwing up.
God, I can't wait to read. I cannot wait to read that one. You got to finish this one first. But no, I love what you said with your first novel, that people who were even part of this cult couldn't tell if it was satire or not. That's how you do it. Like, I'm working on a film now that I'm trying to kind of, it has a bit of something to say and stuff, but I really want to make sure to learn from what the left does and make sure that it's a story first and that the subtext could go over someone's head if they're,
Yeah, that's what I was doing with The Late as well, where I was like, it was kind of the other way around, where I had whoops. Sorry, I didn't realize that keyboard was on. I felt something on my keyboard. I was trying to get it off, and then I didn't realize it was on. Anyways. No, with The Late, that's something that I was trying to do as well, where I was trying to make it a story first, and any themes that I was building from the story, I was really trying to make sure that they found themselves in the story naturally, so that there was something to expand upon, and it wasn't just like being crowbarred into the story in a way that felt unnatural. So and you'll get to those later, and that's that's an unfortunate part about the situation I find myself in, where I really want to talk about some of those themes, but they're spoilers for the story, so I'm like, I can't.
No spoil. I'm only on the first chapter. By the way, I should have mentioned earlier, everyone, please go buy his book. The link is below in the description. Get it on Amazon. It is I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to support independent artists who are doing something different and trying to put something out there that's thoughtful and creative and has something to say and isn't the same old fucking mass-produced bullshit that we're being bombarded with everywhere. And also, by the way, your lovely cover art designed by the wonderful Daniel Delafay.
Yeah.
He did a great job.
I got the actual painting on the wall over there. He did
really like the Avengers of based artists.
Yeah, he's a really talented guy. I'm super happy with the art. So Daniel, if you're watching, thank you so much.
I think he's on tour with a band right now.
Really?
Yeah.
right. Well, there you go.
He became a roadie. But yeah, like I said, go buy his book. It is below. So what was sort of your starting place with this book? What gave you the idea?
It was actually a YouTube video. I saw a thumbnail. I was just cruising YouTube one day, and this was February of 2023. And I saw a thumbnail of a grave that had a cage over it. And the title was like, why does this grave have a cage on it? And I thought it was going to be some sort of like superstition about, the dead coming back to life when we got to keep them down there, like vampires or something like that. And instead, it was a video about, these guys called body snatchers or resurrectionists who would dig up recently deceased corpses and then sell them to hospitals so that the hospitals could conduct anatomy lectures because they needed cadavers for that. Usually they got cadavers from this in England. They usually got cadavers from criminals who had been sentenced to death and were hanged. But in the late 18th, early 19th century, there was this thing that happened in London or in England where the number of crimes that could get you the death penalty were reduced because they even lawmakers realized like this is a little ridiculous. Like,
yeah, they didn't fuck around there in the olden days.
Yeah. So the number of crimes that could get you the death penalty was being reduced at the same time that medicine was becoming a science. And a lot of people were trying to study it, which meant that the demand for anatomy lectures and therefore the demand for cadavers for those anatomy lectures was going up. So the demand for dead bodies was going up at the same time that the supply was coming down. And that left a massive shortage in the market where these body snatchers would come in, go into cemeteries, dig up recently deceased bodies, and then sell them to the hospitals to use for their anatomy lectures or for any other sort of medical research that they were doing at the time.
By the way, you guys can see why I'm loving this book.
It is very dark, by the way. It is dark. It is disturbing. I don't believe in trigger warnings because usually they just sound like spoilers to me. But I feel like there probably should be a content warning. And if I am putting in the description that one of the main characters digs up dead bodies and sells them to hospitals, then you should probably know, like, there's going to be some disturbing content in the book. FYI.
I feel like I need to be playing some Repo the Genetic Opera music here.
By the way, you and I bonded over that one time on Twitter. I don't know if you remember that.
I meant to ask you, Zydrate comes in a little glass vial?
A little glass vial?
A little glass vial!
And the little glass vial goes somewhere against your anatomy.
It's so good. I love that movie. I feel like we're living in that movie now. With trans shit and with people getting their face, like we're kind of turning into.
Can you imagine
Repo and Shock Treatment?
Can you imagine if a trans person defaulted on their medical debt and then the hospital was like, we're repossessing your dick?
What if they got the zipper tits and they open it up and stick the titties back in there? They make you take them back.
Yeah, it's gonna be a zipper until you pay off your debt, and then we'll stitch it up.
It's like when you lease a phone, you don't fully own it yet.
Yeah, yeah, it can get repossessed, man.
I love you the best taste in shit, though. I was also a Twilight Zone nerd as a kid.
Oh yeah, because my dad is a little bit older, so he watched the Twilight Zone growing up, and when I was in about middle school, the Twilight Zone came out on DVD. And so over the course of a couple years, we got him those collections.
Oh, that's
so I've seen about every episode of the original Twilight Zone.
What's your favorite?
Oh.
I had two or three that messed me up.
So there are the classics that people really like. There's like The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street. That's a great one. Night Phone with the old lady who keeps getting phone calls in the middle of the night. That one scared me a lot when I was a kid. There's the one about the guy who has the wax figures of the serial killers in his basement. That one's pretty good. I think that was called The New Exhibit.
I love the mannequin one. Remember that?
Yes. Oh, what was that one called? I can't remember the name of that one, but I know.
No, not After Hours. Something like that. Though.
Yeah, that was it. The After Hours.
Was that it?
I think so. And then recently, I have to say, I also really like The Howling Man, where a guy. We should explain a little bit of these for people watching who have no idea what the hell we're talking about. So The Howling Man. Maybe we should back up before that. So the Twilight Zone,
like it was a show,
TV show. So back before Netflix, I don't know how young your audience is. Back before Netflix and streaming, you had to watch a show on a TV that was hooked up to cable, and you couldn't just choose what you watched. You had to see what time the program was gonna be on, and then turn on. Make sure you didn't have anything going on at that time.
I think the chat is like middle-aged bitter bitches like us.
Oh, we're fine. Well, just in case there's like a 16-year-old, and then you sit down. You have to make sure there's nothing else on your calendar at 8:00 on Wednesday, and then you would go to the channel that program was going to be on, and you would watch it. There would be commercials, pain in the ass, but that's when you go to the bathroom, and that's how you watch the show. And then you go to school or you go to work the day after, and you talk to people about the show that was on last night. So it was very important that you missed that, because otherwise you'd be out of the loop. Okay.
I missed that. I remember when I was in middle school and it's something like Starbucks before school, and everyone in the Starbucks was talking to each other about American Idol from the night before when Jennifer Hudson got eliminated.
Okay. Yeah, so the Twilight Zone was an anthology series from 1959 to 1964. It was created by a writer named Rod Serling. And he was the host of the show too. So if you've seen some Futurama, they sometimes do a spoof of it where he would have that voice. In Futurama, the TV show The Scary Door was a spoof of the Twilight Zone. Okay. And Rod Serling would be the narrator and the host, and he'd be like, imagine, if you will, a world where such and such, and he would kind of introduce the episode. And I think the best introduction he ever gave was for the episode called The Obsolete Man.
Which one was that?
This was an episode. The details are kind of vague, which I really like because it lets your imagination run with it. But some future society that has been overrun by some authoritarian government, and an older man has been ruled by a court to be obsolete because he has books and he has banned literature. And so he is condemned to death, but he gets to choose how he dies. So he says, well, I would like for a bomb to go off in my apartment. That's how I want to die. And then like one of the authoritarian party leaders winds up at his apartment, basically held hostage with this bomb that's going to go off. It's a really good episode, but Rod Serling's introduction to that episode is so poignant And you have to remember, this was early 60s, so we were in the middle of the Cold War, and this was and I think Rod Serling served in World War II as well. So he fought against Nazis. He was now writing about communists when we knew that the Soviets had gulags, when we knew what the Soviets were doing to their political dissidents. Writing about what authoritarians do. And the episode is so stripped down, really, because like I said, there's not a whole lot of detail. When this old man is on trial for his, kangaroo court, the set design is very basic. It's just like a table and like a tall pedestal that the judge is at. That's it, They realize, like, we're not gonna worry about the details of like what country this is or what the party is. It's not important. It's not important. But that's one of
the things that made it good is they didn't have a whole lot of time to tell these very complex stories, and that's something that I've tried to learn from in my writing, is to tell things efficiently and realize the things that nobody gives a shit about, that you don't need to over explain.
Yeah, exactly. Less is more, right? So just don't.
By the way, question:
wrote a 700-page book. Less is more.
I know. I was telling you before. I'm trying to figure out how to turn my my 4-hour epic into manageable runtime. It sucks. We have a question for you. By the way, also, sorry, I've been neglectful. I forgot to mention hello to our beautiful chat friends. Thanks for being here, y'all. Is Chad Manley a real name? If so, hats off to the parents. No, it's not his real damn name.
No, that is my Twitter name. My real name is on my...
It sounds like it should be your friggin' OnlyFans name or something. If the writing career doesn't work out.
I don't have an OnlyFans, just in case anyone was wondering.
But it sounds like you would from your name.
Maybe that's why I have so many followers.
Yeah. No, but you could convert them into literary followers.
Yeah, that's my goal. That's my whole business strategy.
There was this one really weird episode. I don't even remember much about it, but I just saw it so many times as a kid. It was like called Jezebel or something. It was very strange, and I don't even remember why. I think it took place in like some kind of olden days. I remember nothing from it except that it was fucking weird.
I gotta look this up now. Highlight Zone.
I love their ones that like the doll talking Tina. I swear I didn't make this up.
No. I'm looking at the Wikipedia page for it now. Jezebel.
And some kind of old-timey actress, I think, in it.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. It was called Jezebel.
Jezebel.
Yeah. I just remember it was very strange.
Young woman whose name sounds like Jezebel, spurned by the man she loves, becomes a witch in order to make him love her.
I knew it was some witchy shit.
Okay. I'm pretty sure
this is the name you should have gone with.
Biggest Dickus, Wang Long, Chad Manley,
Tomato one for me. Like, I feel like it ties into the Italian thing.
There was a Mad TV skit. So this was like 15, 20 years ago, right? Where there was
before I was born,
an office to get registered as a porn star. And so there were these people coming in, and like one guy came in and he was like, he had like a Star Wars inspired porn name. And the secretary at the desk was like, buddy, all the Star Wars names have been taken. Like, you can't do that. There like all these people coming in with like these ridiculous porn names and whatever. They sound like so forced and so contrived and whatever. And this Asian guy walks in and he goes, "Hi, Hung Lo." And the lady's like, "That's a great name. You're gonna do great." And he goes, "So do I do the driving test or the written test first?" She's like, "Oh, honey, you're in the wrong building. The DMV is next door. And so the joke was that was his actual name.
That's great. Sea Striker. I want to start my own animated series. I want to try to write a script for the pilot before fall, but sometimes I just don't know where to start. Just do it. Just do it. Just start. Just do it.
I will say that starting with the very, very beginning is sometimes the wrong place to start. Yeah. Like for this, for the late, I started like a couple pages into the first chapter, and I was like, I will work on the first page later. I'm not going to worry about that right now. Mm-hmm. And so maybe that's what you need to do. Like, work on like the third scene and go from there, and then you can go back and work on the first couple scenes later. So
yeah, a lot of times you'll just have ideas for random scenes, and then once you're working on it, it'll sort of fill in between. But I'll do that a lot. That I'll just be stuck on one part and I'll kind of write around it.
Yeah. And cut yourself some slack. The first draft is going to be terrible. It's the point of the first draft to be
you got to write the bad version first.
Right. So you can improve it and make something that's really good. Yeah.
If I was a stripper, I would only dance to White Zombie, and my name would be the Sexorcist. You stole my dream. Damn, that I never thought of it before, but that's now like my dream porn star name.
The Sexorcist?
That should have been, yeah. If I was gonna be a hoe, that should have been my name. That is a good ass name. Yeah, that Talkie Tina doll episode, that was amazing.
That was my favorite. That one was pretty good.
Did you watch? I couldn't get through it. I saw maybe 2 minutes of it, but they came out with a couple years ago the woke Jordan Peele Twilight Zone. So I've heard. I haven't watched it.
Well, yeah, I heard that it was a giant letdown and people felt like they had been scammed or tricked or something.
Why?
And I don't know, but that's just kind of what I heard. And I never figured out how to actually watch it. So don't know what's going on there. I don't know if it was
Amazon. I feel like I remember looking at the episode descriptions and it was just all like a black woman, a white man. It seemed very agenda driven.
Gotcha.
Did you ever get into Black Mirror?
Yeah, I saw the first couple seasons of that.
It's kind of gone downhill.
Yeah, but for folks who haven't ever seen the Twilight Zone, it was basically that idea. The same idea as Black Mirror, same format, where every episode is something totally different. It's just a little encapsulated episode.
You know, it was my jam that I grew up with. I miss this show, Tales from the Crypt.
Oh, I haven't actually ever seen that one.
What? Oh my God, it is amazing. That show was fucked up.
You want to talk about fucked up TV shows?
Mm-hmm.
Degrassi.
Oh my God! The most fucked up of the fucked up. Oh my God! I forgot about Degrassi.
They had a point. They were really good at the beginning for the first few seasons, and then they kind of went downhill, and they got better, and then they went downhill, and then they went further downhill, and then they moved to Netflix.
I only watched it when I was a kid. I never got into like the Netflix days.
Okay, yeah.
It got worse.
On one of the Netflix episodes, a teenage student in a hijab was explaining to the principal that girls took longer in the bathroom, and so it was actually causing them to get less education than boys. And so that's why we need longer passing periods. Oh, and my response to that would be, if you're taking so long in the bathroom that it's affecting your grades, you're either taking longer in the bathroom than you need, or you have a medical issue and you should consult a physician.
It could be. I mean, now if it came out, it would be a. Is that show still on? Because they're probably all trans. If it is,
I don't think it's not. Oh, they had a trans character who died because she was texting while driving. So
deport her. I never saw recent Degrassi. I remember it back in my day. Degrassi was like every episode was like a very, you know how shows used to have a very special episode? Degrassi, every single episode was the very special episode. So they would have like the chick gets raped, and the next episode she gets an abortion, and the next episode there's a school shooting, and the next episode there's a hate crime. And it was just, this fucking school had like a black cloud hanging over the head.
No, but remember, they realized a few seasons in they needed to introduce some new characters, so they just overnight invented a rival high school that I don't think had ever been mentioned before and said that it burned down, so now all of those students had to go to Degrassi.
See, Striker, how dare you? They did, but I didn't see that one. I'm not that old. The 2000s.
Yeah, this is technically Degrassi: The Next Generation.
Yeah. There's like original Degrassi, Next Generation Degrassi, and what? The New Era Degrassi. Yeah, we don't need a trans character. Jimmy in the wheelchair was bad enough. First of all, I just think it's so hilarious. I could never take Drake seriously because he was the nerd in the wheelchair from Degrassi to me. It's like, you're from Canada. I know what your real voice sounds like. And then he's talking, oh yeah, yo, homie. Like he's from the fucking hood or something. It's like,
in case there are any younger viewers, if you wonder why sometimes older folks refer to Drake as Wheelchair Jimmy,
yes,
it's because he was on a Canadian teen sitcom called Degrassi: The Next Generation, in which he played a character named Jimmy who got shot during a school shooting. Of course, they shot the black guy. Racist joke. Who got shot during a school shooting in the back and then wound up in a wheelchair for the next several seasons.
Until he left to become Drake.
Yes.
Did you ever watch Being Human? I don't know what that is.
It sounds familiar, but I never saw it.
Yeah, it does sound familiar. I'm not sure why. I can't believe you've never watched Tales from the Crypt. That was the best.
I know I said I'm 110. I'm not actually quite that old.
You're 107. We know.
Yeah. Being Human. No, I heard of it. Haven't seen
familiar
it
though. By the way, Netflix Degrassi. We should so watch that at some point because I'm all into hate watching shows with the chat fam. So,
well, I will say the show's been, I'm pretty sure, canceled for a while now. So
when did it end?
We're past the point where hate watching might inadvertently lead to more new things. So I would say it's safe to hate watch.
See, that's the thing. I think fucking, and just like that, the Sex and the City reboot, I think the hate watchers are the only ones keeping new seasons coming. Like, nobody else is watching this. By the way, I was going to say, if you guys feel so inclined, help support the channel, join my locals or my Patreon. We are doing weekly hate watch parties of And Just Like That. Tomorrow, I will be joined by Josie, the redheaded libertarian, to hate watch the new episode. So the links are below. Join my locals. Send in your super chats if you feel so inclined. Support the channel and all the insanity that goes around here. Oh yeah, there was a Netflix Babysitters Club. Did you guys ever see?
I saw that clip of the show because that kind of went viral on Twitter.
I don't think I saw that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna look that up. Did you see the clip of, there was this TV show about an autistic doctor, and there was a clip where there was a trans patient, and he was like, "No, you're a man." And he ended up being right that he was like, "You've got prostate cancer." And they were all shitting on him the entire time. They were like, "She is a beautiful woman." And he's like, "Well, she's got prostate cancer." This sounds
The Good
amazing.
Doctor,
I
that's
need
not
to see
the show.
this.
It's an old TV show at this point.
It's a British one. Okay, this looks kind of good. I got to put that on my watch list. What was the other one? The Babysitter's Club. I got to see if I can find that clip because that sounds amazing. They got to ruin everything. They got to take everything from the 90s and the 2000s and put... Oh, boy! I searched Babysitter's Club and just a lot of dicks and vaginas came up.
Oh, man.
A lot of big titties. Is there like... there must be like a porn Babysitter's Club. Okay, I can't find that. You have to watch The Twilight Zone. Or Tales from the Crypt, I mean.
Okay.
That's to be on your list. Yeah, what was that? The Good Doctor?
The Good Doctor.
Did you see that clip?
I've seen that clip. I don't think I've seen the show.
Oh my god, he has testicular cancer. Even better. I'm so sick of these people, dude. I will say, thank God, I think Pride Month has been a little toned down this year. Does it seem like less to you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Do you think that's just because there's been so much other shit going on? Or, like, will it
No.
return with a vengeance next year? Or are people just finally sick of this shit?
They're just sick of it. They're just sick of it. Because even during 2020, when we had the George Floyd riots, there were still...
on her.
Oh, yeah.
Our Lady of Fentanyl.
There was still a ton of gay pride bullshit. So, you know, I don't think it's because there's other things going on. I think it's because people are fed up. And that's why there was just notably lower attendance at a lot of gay pride parades this month, to the point where I think it was Cheyenne, maybe, had to cancel their gay pride parade because there was lack of interest. Which I thought when I read that headline, I was like, well, yeah, it's fucking Wyoming. But apparently, like, it's a really liberal city or whatever. And so in the past, they've had really big gay pride parades. I think it was Cheyenne. And this year they're just like, we're canceling this because nobody cares.
That's kind of encouraging. Lord Zart, the search is based off your algorithms. Do you really think I'm looking at like fat chicks with their floppy titties and their fucking roast beef between their legs? No, it's not based on your algorithms. That was on Twitter that I was searching. It is not. Yeah, though, I think, what's it like where you are? Because I think even in these places that are considered more red, like I went to go visit my friend in Texas recently, and we would be in some little town in the middle of nowhere in Texas, and there are stores with the fucking trans flag and all the pride shit, and there were signs that like, oh, a whole pride parade comes through. I'm like, nobody fucking lives here, and the pride parade comes through? What, with the fucking tumbleweeds? The tumbleweed and a trans comes by to yell at you.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way that a lot of cities are, even in red states, where you go into downtown Omaha or definitely downtown Lincoln, and there's, you know, pride flags in storefronts and everything. But yeah, out in the middle of nowhere, it's more just nobody cares. Mm-hmm. That's really what it is. Like there are some legitimately homophobic people, but for the most part, nobody cares. Which, by the way, do you want equality or do you not want equality? Because if you want equality, then nobody should care. You don't get to have this thing where you're like, I want equality, but I want to be celebrated. It's like, pick one.
You cannot, you can either be normal or you can be special. You don't get to be both.
Yes.
And you're not fucking special. Ramiro, hey, that identifies as tumbleweeds. That's leading the pride parades in Texas. Yeah, I hope that it's going away. I'm just so sick of this shit. I'm sick of these people. I'm sick of this bullshit. I can't take anymore.
Yeah.
Was it so you've always lived in like red states, right?
Yeah.
You've never been like a city person.
No.
You're that old that you need to think about it.
Well, I mean, it's just that, when you live in a college town, it kind of feels like a city compared to the suburbs or compared to where I live now. But yeah, no, I've never lived in like downtown anywhere.
So what's it been like with so has it always been insane with the gays? Like, are they better in those places before the trans came along?
That's a good question. I'd say, yeah, that's the thing. Like, in the early days of gay pride, so like, I know that I don't need a history lesson. I know it goes back to like the 70s or some shit, but when it really became
when black trans women died for our sins.
Right. You always have to pay lip service to black trans women.
Of course. Oh,
trans women of color, right? But in like the early, like 2012, 2013, when it kind of became more widely known that it was first originally Pride Week and then Pride Month.
Oh, it was a week in between?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
anyway.
It's insufferable, like those people who go, it's my birthday week. Shut up. Shut up.
I hate that.
It's like, it's in the name, birthday.
Yeah. Well,
sorry.
I remember, I think it was Matt Walsh. I'm not a huge fan of Matt Walsh, but this was an interesting thing that he pointed out. In like 2012 or 2013, Target's tweeted out, our gay pride clothing is available exclusively on our website. Like, they wouldn't do a store display or anything like that. And then I think it was last year where you had like the trans child bathing suits to help kids tuck. I think that was last year. And then this year, I remember seeing someone on a big lib on Twitter who was very upset that the trans display, or sorry, the gay pride display was small in the back of the store and next to a 4th of July display.
It's never enough. It is never, ever enough for these people.
Right. And so, anyways, like back in the early days, though, you were kind of aware of it, but the fact that I grew up in Indiana, so by June, we were on summer vacation. So this wasn't this didn't happen during school. And that really does work as like a cooling effect to keep kids from talking about it, I think. And like, they're not in school, so they're not seeing each other much, right? I know that there are some places in the country where they are still in school at the beginning of June, but we weren't. And yeah, like there were gay people in high school. There were gay folks in high school.
When you were in high school?
Mm-hmm.
There were none for me. None.
When did you graduate high school?
I forgot. It feels like yesterday. When did you graduate high school?
Oh, like 1,000 years ago.
Mine was like last week.
No, I graduated in 2014. So there were some gay folks, and there were some folks who, I mean, everyone knew they were gay, but they didn't like make a big coming out about it, which I get. Like, it's your business, right? There were some folks who were openly gay. There was one chick who was like borderline trans. I gotta look up this person to see what.
Oh yeah, you know she will be now.
Well, and that's the thing, because it's like she just kind of seemed like a really butch lesbian. And if she had been
You're
born,
not allowed to be that anymore, though.
nope, you're not allowed to be that anymore. And you're not allowed to be an effeminate gay guy. You got, if you act like that's because you're actually a girl.
There were at least 2 to 3 gays in my count. That's crazy. There were none in my. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Shut up. No, there were none. But then after high school, like I had a friend, there were like some people that, you know, you find out afterwards, the ones who were the whole time. And you're like, oh, we could have been sleeping together back then.
Yeah.
And then, and then there were the ones who are still closeted to this day.
I might fall into that category.
Aren't you married? What in that category?
Yeah, but I don't really talk about it a whole lot, is the thing. So
which part? Being married?
Any of it. I do mention Lord Brentwood quite a bit, but
I know. I didn't know. Can I how when did you get married?
We didn't, and we never will.
Oh, you said your husband.
Well, yeah.
So your fake husband.
Well, I mean, we call each other husband, you know, our husbands.
Oh, okay. It's like
and right, but just for religious reasons, like we're not gonna get married because we don't really believe in gay marriage in the first place. So
okay,
yeah, so that's that. But we refer to each other as husband. It's weird. Whatever. We're together forever, and that's all that matters.
Aw. That's sweet. I'm glad you found someone sane amongst the insufferable gays.
He's not insufferable.
Aw. Aw, look at those.
I should tell him that I said that about him. Hey, I was on a live stream and I said that you weren't insufferable.
You'll never live it down that you said he's not insufferable. You'll like want to take it back. Like, I would just remind someone. I'm like, remember that time you said I'm not insufferable? It's on video.
Yeah.
You can be openly gay but not wear it on your sleeve. It's these bitches that make me always talk. Like, I would love to never have to talk about these fucking people, but they're so horrible that they just give so much material.
Yeah. Oh, but you asked about trans folks. So there was like, and I went to a big high school. So you might say like, oh, wow, like you had, I went to a big high school. There were 2,400 people. There were 2,400 kids in this.
I didn't know there were that many people in. You're not from Nebraska, right?
No, I'm from Indiana.
I didn't know there were that many people in Indiana in total.
Well, and here's the other thing. That wasn't even the biggest high school in Indiana.
Really?
Really?
Damn, I should have been from Indiana.
So there were a lot of people in my high school. There were a handful of gay folks in my class of 550 or whatever. And not all of them were openly gay. Again, like it was kind of a, you could tell, but you just didn't talk about it, and not really your business, right?
I take it back that there was one in my high school, and he was about 300 something pounds and wore Jessica Simpson's boots. That's my only interaction I ever had with him, was overhearing him, coming a mile away, talking about how he got boots from the Jessica Simpson clothing line. So I count that as no one.
Oh my God. And there was one person in the entire school who was like kind of borderline trans, had some weird gender stuff going
See, that
on.
Across the board did not exist when I was in my day.
On the football team as a chick, because they told her no originally, and then her family sued because by Title IX they have to let her on the football team.
Oh, she's definitely trans now.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember her last name, otherwise I would look her up.
You know what? I find so shitty. So, when I was in school, so I had this good friend from like, we'd been friends forever from the time I was like in middle school, high school onward. We were roommates for years after high school. And so we were like, maybe like 19, 20, she came out that she's a lesbian. And this girl used to be the most fun person in the world, was like always laughing, always smiling. She was gorgeous. We'd live together, so we'd get all dressed up and go out somewhere. And the moment she comes out that she's a lesbian, it's like she has to prove how much of a lesbian she is. So she can only hang out with lesbians, and she can only do lesbian things, and no men. And like, I'd be around her friends and they'd all look at me like I'm the fucking devil because I'm a man. And she cut all her hair off. And of course stopped speaking to me because men are the devil. But I guarantee you she would be trans now. I feel like that sort of conformity was in a way unofficially the beginning of trans shit.
Well, and that's something I touch on in my first novel. But also, if you saw the movie,
buy it on Amazon.
Love, Simon.
Ugh.
I didn't read the book that it was based on, but I saw the movie, and there were some things I didn't like about. There were a lot of things I didn't like about. At the time, I was like, "Oh, that was pretty good," and then in retrospect, I'm like, "I don't know, no, I'm not about that." But one of the things that was annoying was that when he came out as gay and people knew that he was gay, he Googled like how to dress like a gay guy, and then he started conforming to the idea of what a gay person should look like and how a gay person should act and all that. And it's like, no, but that's not you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's not what makes you you. If you have to Google, how do I do this? That's not legitimately you. So don't tell me like, oh, he's just being himself now. If he had to be himself, if he's being himself now, why do you have to Google it for directions? You know?
Because when they say be your authentic self, what they mean is be their self. Be just like them.
Yeah. When they say, like, you need to be like, yeah, your authentic self or whatever, what they really mean is you need to act like how I think you should act.
Yup.
I remember when I was in grad school, a bunch of friends of mine from the department went out to the bars, and one of my friends brought, I don't think it was his girlfriend, but a chick he was at least dating in some capacity, and just liberal white chick. And topic came up. I don't really talk about it that much, but if it comes up in conversation, then I will, right? And so I just, oh yeah, I'm gay, I have a boyfriend, whatever. And I said like, yeah, it's just I don't really like sort of gay scene, or I don't do that stuff or whatever. And then later that night, I was going home for the night, and she came up to me and she was like, I just want you to know that, you know, you need to love yourself.
Oh,
and you need to like be your authentic. And I was just standing there like, oh my gosh. I was like, okay, all right.
What did that mean?
What she meant was,
I
have an idea, and this is like
conform is what you mean.
Entirely what my first book is about, my first novel. But it's like, I have an idea of what a gay person should look like, how they should act, all that. You don't match that. So instead of thinking, oh, I must be, you know, engaging in some sort of stereotyping for gay people. And I guess, you know, just because I think this doesn't mean that's actually how gay people are and blah, blah, blah. Instead of thinking that, her thought process was, you don't match what I have in my head. You are the problem. There's something wrong with you, and you are not being your real self because you do not match my expectations of you.
Oh, I can't stand these bitches. I can't stand these bitches. They're like nails on chalkboard to me. It is just all based in conformity.
Yeah.
And I would always run into people like this when I was younger, that like, I don't fit into anyone's boxes. I'm not anything. Like, I'm not some walking pride float, but I'm also not like what they would view as like the total opposite of that. Like, they don't know what fucking box to put me in. So these people have always hated me. That I'm just like, I'm not fitting into any of your fucking boxes, and I don't give a shit to.
Right. And that's kind of the boat that I'm in. I'd say the box, but not really a box. Where
What's more fun?
Yeah. Where I'm a healthy mix of a lot of things, and I don't like it when people try to put me into a box. I don't like it when people try to take, one category that I might fall into and then define all of me by that one thing. I really don't like that.
Same. I can't stand these people. Also, by the way, Hunter said earlier, you need to watch Skins. I've never seen that. I remember it being a thing back in the day, but I never saw it. Also, love to see these conversations. Thanks for being here, dude. Yeah, I'm glad to know, because for me, that's what I've always said, is that like, even when I was a liberal, the one thing about me that never changed is I could never get along with these fucking alphabet people, even as a liberal. So I always tell people, like, it goes way beyond just politics. Their politics is just the next natural progression of their fucking cult. But yeah, I'm glad to, once I sort of left the left, it was nice to know that there are sane gays out there.
Yeah, sure.
We need to talk about, by the way, so I didn't realize, I've never known this about you until recently, that you are an economist.
Oh, yeah.
You make it sound so fun. No, but I have a point with this, that we have to talk about the fucking election that happened yesterday.
Oh, in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was a primary, right?
Mm-hmm. It is. Oh, and people were jumping down my throat with semantics, as if I don't know it was a primary. However, I also have firsthand experience of knowing what the New York Republican Party is.
Yeah.
And it might as well have been a general election, because these people are fucking useless.
Yeah.
Anytime in the last 20 years that a candidate has done well who's a Republican, 100% of the credit should go to the candidate, because the party in New York does jack shit nothing. Like, Lee Zeldin did great. That's a reflection of Lee Zeldin. That ain't a reflection of the party stepping it up or doing anything. And you would think that now would really be the time to expose people to the truth and do something, anything. Nope, they couldn't have even been bothered to hold a primary. So their candidate now, and I like him, I voted for him, he's fine. However, there was no primary. So their candidate now is just the same guy who lost the last election by 40 points.
Oh my God.
I don't understand these people. And I just have to bitch for a second, because like, I was born in New York, raised in New York, lived in New York my entire life. It was the greatest place in the world. I loved it so much. It has been destroyed. Absolutely destroyed. And the thing is, too, even people on the left will acknowledge in New York that de Blasio destroyed the city. He was the most far left mayor they've ever had. So now they're going to have someone even more far left. So my point in this, to come full circle, my point, can you delve into this insane bullshit that he's looking for? Being an economist, he wants to have the city own grocery stores. He wants a rent freeze. He wants $65 million for trans. And he wants to make New York a sanctuary city for trans kids.
Okay. So starting with the grocery thing. I believe it's been said before that if you put the government in charge of the Sahara Desert, in a couple of years, they would run out of sand.
Yes.
So you
Well
want
said.
so there's a number of problems here. The first issue is just private property rights. And so there are a number of privately owned grocery stores in New York, I trust. And so if you want the government to open government-owned grocery stores, those grocery stores will, let's say they're cheaper. Okay, cool. They're going to run out of everything because they're cheaper. So they're almost constantly going to be empty or running low or have lower quality products to justify the lower prices.
Well, and also, I didn't know this until recently, but apparently in New York, grocery stores have a profit margin of about 1%. So it's not like they're raking in the dollars.
Well, I think that's pretty typical of grocery stores across the nation, of having very thin profit margins. Like, you know, in the middle of nowhere, the couple grocery stores, things tend to be kind of expensive, and you might think that they're just price gouging because we live in the middle of nowhere. No, it's because to get things to the middle of nowhere, you gotta ship them here, and that costs money. So that's the way that works. But if you want to have government-owned grocery stores, they're going to have, and you want everything there to be cheap, they're going to constantly run out of things, or they're going to have low quality products, to justify the lower prices. Because if grocery stores are run at such a low profit margin, they can't be buying name brand stuff. Like you can't buy Sara Lee bread and sell it at below the price that you paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
The government is notorious for overpaying for things, so I don't know how they think they're going to get products for cheap. And if they did sell them at a loss to the government-owned store, the taxpayers are going to make up for it anyways. And you might say, well, I'm poor in New York, so I don't have to pay for that. It's going to come out in sales tax of everything else. So, don't be so sure that you're not gonna pay for it somehow else,
And once businesses leave, there's a cost to everyone else. There's a consequence to that.
Yeah. If anything, it might. Let me think about this. Could it help privately owned grocery stores? Because they'll just be able to say, like, we're not that crappy government place.
Yeah.
Maybe.
See, I would think a lot of them would just go out of business.
Well, if the government store is always running out of stuff.
That's true.
They're selling at a loss and they're running out of things. Like, that is the good thing about a government-owned store. They can sell at a loss because they can make their revenue up through taxation.
Yeah.
But if they're constantly running out of things or they have lower quality products, then I don't think that's really going to interfere with normal grocery stores a whole lot. I could be wrong about that, but you can have the lowest prices in the entire city, but if you never have stock to sell, it doesn't really help anybody.
Well, and also, like, this guy, he has a very nice smile, as fucking communists always do. It's always marketed with a smiling face, and he has all the right words. He talks about making things affordable. That is never what happens with these people. Just look at what has happened in New York. Like, I grew up in a middle-class apartment in a middle-class neighborhood. Everything was beautiful. There is no more middle class in New York. It is the rich and the poor. It's the haves and the have-nots. That is what happens under leftism. That is always what happens. Yeah. And now these people just want more of it, and to take it to the next level. Casper, Mikey's accent.
I've been hearing that too.
Shut up! I don't have an accent, but then I might have heard it a little bit from Timcast, and I was like, "Fuck!" I didn't think I had an accent, but
well, I mean, and that's you gotta ask, like, do New Yorkers think their city has been getting better or worse over the last 20 years? Because it seemed like Granted, what do I know? I haven't been to New York since 2009, but
That was the
from
last
where
time.
I'm
It was
sitting,
nice.
it kind of looks like it's getting worse. And if it's been getting worse for 15, 20 years, then you gotta ask, like, nothing changes if nothing changes. Why do you keep voting for the same people in the same party that's been making your city worse for 2 decades?
It's unbelievable.
And when I see this stuff, when I see this stuff out in New York, I do feel bad, and then I feel bad for 2 seconds, and then I just think, you know what? Let them have it. Let them have it, because you know what? They don't learn. They don't learn. They keep voting for this shit anyways. So let them have it. And
I will say one thing. I see a lot of people on Twitter saying this pisses me the fuck off, that they're like, don't come to Florida, don't come to Texas, don't look at the numbers is all I'll say. People from blue states who move to red states vote Republican at a much higher rate than people who are from those states. And there are a lot of elections that were won with the votes because of the votes of people who moved there.
I'll take your word for it, and I do really hope that is true, because it does seem like, or I shouldn't say, but that is a big concern of people who like here in Nebraska. Sometimes you'll see California plates on cars, or Lord Brentwood. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to dox him, but he doesn't want people to know that he knows me. But
that's smart.
But he notices more and more people who seem to be moving to Nebraska from California or from Washington or Oregon, and from the West Coast, and that is a concern. Like, oh geez, are you just going to be turning our state more blue? Now, in Nebraska, I do have to say, we have us and Maine are the only 2 states that split up the electoral votes. So it wouldn't change the entire state's outcome. But, if we lived in Kansas, it'd be a different story. We would have to be concerned about, like, oh geez, are you going to be voting super blue up in Lincoln or Omaha, and then end up changing the entire state's outcome when it comes to a presidential election?
These people there are apparently happy with the hell that they've made. This bullshit too. I read that he was in favor of safe injection sites. Well, the thing is, it doesn't even matter if he is, because they put them up already. They've been there for a couple of years now, and it's
a couple
insane.
Years?
What's that?
A couple of years they've been there?
Shut the fuck up, Chad. I have
to ask you, what's a safe injection zone? Because to my knowledge, those don't exist currently in New York. Are you arresting people for shooting up drugs on the street, or are you letting them do that? Because saying a safe injection zone implies an unsafe injection zone, implies a place where you're not supposed to be doing that. Currently, that's the entire city, and you're letting it happen anyways. So excuse me if I'm a little skeptical of this idea that you're going to start enforcing the law once you introduce a zone where you're not going to be enforcing the law.
People are giving me shit. Wait, people are giving me shit in the chat. Fuck you guys. No, get this. Well, when you look up their logic to justify these safe injection sites, they'll say something like, oh, this year we saved like 10 people from overdose. And it's always like a very low number, 10 people from overdosing, which how are they even arriving at that conclusion? Like, how do they know that that person would have overdosed anyway? But the thing is, what they're not looking into, how many people continued using because of these? How many people started using again because of these?
Yep.
How many people increased what they were using? How many schools are these near? How many people is this encouraged to go shoot up? They won't study that.
Yeah.
Mike, can you do me a favor and say chowda? Why? Shut up, Sea Striker. What? Shut up. What I was saying, shut up. The city put vending machines out with crack pipes. That's how far it started with safe injection sites, and now they have vending machines with crack pipes.
Yeah, I remember those. This was during the Biden administration. The safe smoking kits or whatever. I remember vending machines in that. So this was something else. But yeah, the safe smoking kits, and people were like, "You mean you're teaching people how to smoke crack safely?" And they're like, no, that's not what we mean. It's like, well, what is a safe smoke kit if it's not what else could this be for?
It's unbelievable. So yeah, we're gonna have a lot more of that there now. Like, it sucks. Like, I'm in Florida now, so screw them. But I was hoping that my formerly beautiful city could be saved someday. Have you ever seen the movie You've Got Mail?
No, I haven't.
You have to. It's so good. Chat, if anyone has seen that movie, You've Got Mail. That movie is like a tour of my neighborhood that I grew up in. Like, they filmed it all there when I was a kid. The entire movie takes place, and they filmed like all the little stores and the streets and everything. The entire movie is just like a tour of where I grew up. And you go to that neighborhood now, and it's all like, oh, the bookstores in that movie, they're abandoned buildings now. You can see, oh, this street, just tents lined up on that street now.
It's like the movie Barbarian, where it's a super crappy rundown neighborhood, and then there are flashback scenes where it's like early 70s American dream, like the little piece of land with a small house on it.
That is such a good point.
Yeah.
In a Democrat city, keep voting Democrat. Barbarian is what happens.
And not only that, but it was also the subprime mortgage trend, where it's like, we're going to lower the standard of what it takes to get a mortgage.
Sounds familiar.
And then it got to the point where even the movie The Big Short was making fun of this, where it's like people were getting several, like a stripper had 5 houses in a condo. And people were opening mortgages in their dog's name because the bankers weren't caring. They were called ninja loans. No income, no job, no assets. They were just like, you came in, you want a house, boom, there's the mortgage, right? You've been approved. And so they just lowered the standard so much of what it took to get a mortgage, get approved for a mortgage, that as soon as there is any sort of concern in the market and people said, wait a second, I don't think there are any actual physical real assets underlying these mortgages, the whole market ended up collapsing because a lot of people got approved for mortgages who couldn't pay those mortgages. And they were living on the dream that the variable rate mortgage would continue to be a very, very low rate. And then when that changed, they were SOL, and they had to turn the house back over, turn the car back over, turn whatever they didn't technically own, whatever was on loan, they had to turn it back over. And that's how you get the 2008 financial crisis. And it's kind of what George H.W. Bush called the Bush 43, whichever one that was. Of the soft bigotry of low expectations. Of let's just lower the standards, and that won't have any impact, right? We're just opening the pool up for more people, right? It's like, no, actually, that opening the door for more people to have mortgages meant that people who shouldn't have been given mortgages in the first place all of a sudden had several $100,000 of debt that they couldn't pay back, couldn't even begin to pay back.
I want to bring this up.
That has a lot of impact.
Do you think you will see a change in New York in our lifetime? I think
in our lifetime, yes.
I think we could. I think we could see a change soon if there were an opposition party. There is no opposition party right now. The the only shot would be if there were another Lee Zeldin type who, over the course of a couple elections, could just on their own in their own campaign make progress. Because that's the thing; they've been so asleep at the wheel for so long that it's going to take more than one election. It's going to take 3, 4, 5 elections, and it's as if Republicans just gave up on blue cities. And it sucks because just in my lifetime we had Republican mayors, governors, senators. It used to be that we didn't just have this one party monopoly, but for the last 20 years or so, Republicans just gave up, washed their hands of it. What?
I didn't say anything.
Shut up. Fuck you.
For the last 20 years or so, it's just been Democrats, only Democrats, right?
Fuck you. Yes, exactly. There's too many GOPers still just feckless paid opposition.
I will say one candidate, one good candidate is all it's going to take, right?
But how if they don't even have a primary?
Yeah, that's true. But
see, they're not even allowing good candidates to be tested or to rise up or anything.
But if you rewind to 2006, Republicans thought they were never going to lose another election again.
Yeah.
And then Barack Obama comes along.
Oh, and I remember in 2008, James Carville wrote a book called 40 More Years that Democrats would never lose for 40 years.
Yeah.
So they were in for a rude awakening.
Yeah, and that is actually something that I am concerned about in politics more generally, is that one of the parties wins, not even like a landslide victory. As much as we like to pretend that Trump's win in 2024 was a landslide, it was a good win. It wasn't a landslide. And, to pretend that, Republicans are just never going to lose an election again. Like, guys, that's not true. And if you get over your skis, we are going to lose the next several elections. That is something that I am concerned about. And by the way, Democrats did the exact same thing in 2020.
Yeah.
Joe Biden won. They went off the deep end. They went full-blown insane. And then they ended up losing in 2024. Keep in mind, they still gained ground in the 2022 midterms.
Yeah. Could you hope for... Well, that's the thing in New York. Eric Adams is running as an independent. So, I don't know. It could happen that him and the communists will split the votes, and there could be a path for a Republican if the Republican Party would do anything, which they probably won't do. Or it could be that the independent and the Republican split the votes and the communist wins, which is most likely what's going to happen. And what Hunter said too, was he a bad candidate? Yeah, that's the thing too, is obviously this guy is in a way more extreme, the communist, but there were no good options on the Democrat side. You had Cuomo, the grandma killer. And the thing is, they can all talk shit. They're all going after him now. The Democrats in New York are all going after him about, oh, he killed the elderly. They were all on board with those policies every step of the way. So he did nothing that all of them wouldn't have done. But yeah, he's a piece of shit. Then the other one, Lander, I think is his name, or Lender. I saw an interview with him where he's talking about how the city should pay for lawyers for illegal aliens. They're all fucking nuts.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what it is about the state of New York being perpetually evil, but they keep doing it, and it's really weird. So there was the whole grandma killer thing. You guys want to fall down an insane internet hole? Look up Willowbrook.
Oh, was that the Geraldo thing?
Geraldo.
Never mind, I might be thinking of something else.
It was allegedly a school for mentally challenged kids that wound up being like, I don't want to say concentration camp because that's pushing it, but horrific, where legitimately over a dozen kids were dying there every year. This was in the state of New York, run by the state of New York.
Gee, it's almost like the government sucks at running shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with the demons, man. The past 10 years have solidified that demons are real and among us, which means God just has to exist. I agree with you.
Yeah, so, I mean, you got the Willowbrook thing, you have the killing the old people. The New York just...
Sorry, I just had to... And this is why I love my channel.
That makes me think about an episode of South Park where Kyle's super Jewish cousin comes in from like New York and New Jersey, and he's like, and then he says to Cartman, like, I will pay you $20 if you don't make fun of him. And so Cartman is just like biting his tongue the entire day. And then finally, like this kid, the cousin, keeps like interrupting in class to talk about why he can't do something because he has some allergy or whatever. And the teacher's like, I don't know why you're having such trouble concentrating. And Cartman's like, maybe we could send him to concentration camp.
Oh, yeah, that's amazing. Well, Seph, give me 1 second. We'll continue in 1 sec. Let's have a very quick word from our sponsors.
It's time for my grifting. Give me all your money. Don't just be a drifter. Help me be a grifter.
Fuck you, pay me.
So if you guys like the channel, help support the channel. Send in your super chats. Join my locals. Join my Patreon. Tomorrow we are tomorrow 9 p.m. Eastern. We are hate watching the new episode of And Just Like That, the Sex and the City reboot. I will be joined by Josie, the redheaded libertarian, who has been hate watching the entire thing. As have I. Have you ever watched this shit? I feel like you're too good for this.
What is it?
It is the very woke, very shitty reboot of Sex and the City.
No, I don't watch that.
I didn't think you were a Sex and the City viewer. The original one was good. The original one was like, the writing was very good. This one is unbelievable. They've got every social issue covered. They each get their own black chick. They got the trans kids. They got everything.
I gotta show you a meme I made a while ago of a couple of the characters from the last Jurassic Park movie, the Dominion, where there was like the black pilot lady next to Laura Dern, and I put that next to the two main chicks from Scary Movie, and it was like the same thing. I'll have to send it to you, but it was like the same vibe, or token black lady. Yeah.
Well, the funny thing too is, so they gave each character literally an emotional support minority, and then they have the poster for the new season, and they have the emotional support black walking 2 steps behind them. It is the most white liberal shit I have ever seen. Let me find
it. Meanwhile, they're all like all the producers and all the writers are patting each other on the back behind the scenes, like, what we're doing is so good for people of color. We're giving them visibility.
I can't.
I remember this was quite some time ago. Before I knew Lord Brentwood, I was on a date with a guy who was talking about how the musical Hamilton was really great because it gave people of color something to look up to or something like that. And I just thought, yeah, I love it when white people explain to each other what's good for black people.
Always.
That's what we need.
Let me 1 second. Let me pull this up. Before I do though, like I said, everyone buy his book. The link is below on Amazon. And subscribe to my local. Subscribe to my Patreon. We do lots of fun stuff. We do movie nights, game nights. Also on Friday on the YouTubes, I will be having spooky game night with Greg. We're going to be streaming horror games. I don't know which yet, but send in your requests. We'll be doing that. Look at this bullshit, though. The emotional support blacks get to walk 2 steps behind them.
Oh my god, guys. Stop.
While the white liberals lead the way out of slavery.
So bad.
I can't with these people. And this fucking Cynthia Nixon from this show, she was the one who was she ran for governor against Cuomo in New York, and she's the one who was campaigning for this communist. And meanwhile, she's got a net worth of like $50 million. These people aren't affected by it. I saw Stephen Colbert was interviewing him. He does not even live in New York. He lives in a mansion in Jersey. Or you had like that bitch Lorde, whoever she's like some pop star bitch. This fucking cunt lives in New Zealand. What's that?
I like Lorde. She has a new album coming out on Friday.
Ugh.
Not that I would know.
It's okay. I have shitty pop that I listen to as well. However, the bitch, she lives in fucking New Zealand, and she's telling New Yorkers how to vote.
Yeah, that's that shit that I can't stand. I'm like, I don't tell me what to do in my country, bitch.
This is what I wanted to bring up, though. Let me see. Sorry, my stupid Instagram is not logging in on this browser, but I wish it would because I want to show you guys something. There's the most genius thing I've ever seen in my life happening. Like I said earlier, I really feel like there is starting to be a backlash against the agenda pushing and the low quality and everything in art right now, that we're starting to see the pushback on that. There is a musical that is coming out called Slam Frank that is a diverse retelling of Anne Frank. It's satire, though.
Okay.
Is it Latinx, non-binary? Latinx. The amazing thing is, though, I wish I could bring it up. My stupid Instagram won't log in on here. The amazing thing, though, is that I would assume that the people making this come from this like Broadway theater world where everything is beyond woke, the wokest of the woke, and they are going so hard on this. Like, anyone, check out their Instagram and the responses they have to people trying to bitch them out. It is just gold. Like, they are not giving an inch with this, and I love to see it.
I'm sorry, what?
I wish I was in New York to see it. It's like a real musical that they are coming out with. But oh, Hunter. Okay, this movie looks like it's going to be really woke, but I've heard so many people say that it's good or it's not, so I want to watch it. I did watch it with my friend and I slept through it. So I need to watch it again.
Sounds great.
Did you see it?
No, I heard it was pretty good.
Me too. It looks like it's going to be woke as hell, but I've heard, like, Critical Drinker liked it, so I'm like, how woke could it be?
Yeah.
Starring Rachel Zegler as Anne Frank. She's apparently going to play in the Sound of Music now.
That was it.
Did you see this? No.
Big on Latinas.
Yeah.
Well,
they love them.
I say that as a joke, but they did all go to South America after the war, so maybe they were.
Yeah, they loved the Latinxes in Nazi Germany. Wait, what? BBC doing an unironic Anne Frank thing, casting a black girl to play her. Well, Cleopatra is black now. They're all everyone was black and trans.
Yeah.
Did you see the Snow White remake?
I didn't know. I heard all the terrible things about it, but
It was a
I'm
letdown.
just not gonna watch the Disney live action stuff. I'm not gonna waste my time with that.
It was a letdown. I wanted it. It was bad, but it wasn't bad in the way I wanted it to be. It wasn't like it was mundane bad. It wasn't spectacularly bad. I wanted it to be Cats level bad.
That is one thing that I kind of got the impression of, that it wasn't so horrendous that like you had to see it. It was just like kind of crappy.
Yeah, the badness was overblown. I hate to say, I wanted it to be worse than it was.
Sure.
I mean, it was bad, but she's worse than the movie, I think.
Yeah, I did see some of the stills where she's like,
yeah.
Which I don't know what was going on there, but
I just love Gal Gadot's acting.
Yeah, she's someone whose talent has been a little exaggerated, I'll say.
Just a bit. Yeah, that's true. It was probably way worse than the original version. I was shocked though they kept the like 7 magical diverse people in it.
Okay, hang on. I'm sending you the Jurassic World thing that I just mentioned.
Oh yeah, I gotta see it. Okay, you guys are gonna hate me for this, but I've actually never seen Jurassic Park.
Really?
I know.
It's really good.
We should do a movie night on my locals. Watch it. I watched Die Hard for the first time on there.
How'd you like it?
It was so good.
Thank you. Yes.
It was amazing.
Amazing Christmas movie.
It was such a Christmas movie. It was so good. You know what I just watched for the first time the other night? It was amazing and also kind of a Christmas movie. Eyes Wide Shut.
It is kind of a Christmas movie.
Have you seen it?
What fun for the whole family.
Yeah, when you're selling them into sex trafficking. Have you seen it?
Yes, I have.
I loved that movie. I need to see it again. That was.
In case you haven't seen it, it is not fun for the whole family.
No,
you're not throwing that on at Grandma's Christmas get together.
It's basically the Diddy story.
Yeah, yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, that movie was amazing. They just don't make stuff like that anymore. Okay, I'm seeing what you sent me. Let me see. Okay, we'll pull it up. Hold on.
Yeah, this is this is the black pilot from Jurassic World Dominion with Laura Dern. And they're like obviously trying to recreate a shot from the original Jurassic Park movie. And I remember seeing that promotional photo and being like, this looks like the 2 main characters from the Scary Movie series. So I did a side-by-side.
That's amazing. I need to see this damn movie.
No, you shouldn't.
The new ones look really shitty though. Have you seen Rosemary's Baby? I've skimmed through. I've seen enough of it. I have a vendetta against Mia Farrow. I despise that bitch. So it's hard for me to. I can usually separate, but she was the original Amber Heard. That bitch is crazy. She adopted all these kids, and half of them killed themselves, and she
don't know any of that.
Oh yeah, that bitch is crazy. Eyes Wide Shut is so good. It's so good. You probably, I'm guessing you've seen Mulholland Drive.
Oh my god, that's one of my favorite movies.
Thank you. Okay, it drives me insane that my friend here doesn't get it. And he's like, "Oh, it's terrible. It means nothing." I'm like, I'm going to write you a full-on fucking essay about every little thing.
There are movies, or not movies, YouTube videos analyzing that movie that are like an hour long.
Yeah.
And you know, I didn't know exactly what it was about when I first saw it, but I knew like this is about the dark side of Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not like, being from the Midwest, I'm not really into the whole like show business thing. I don't know as much about it as someone who grew up in California or New York might, but I knew like this is about the dark side of Hollywood. And it's after watching one of those analysis videos where it is, that taught me like it is very pointedly about specifically the casting couch, about using sex to get ahead in your entertainment career. Amazing movie though, so good. Like that is the type of art that I wish I could make myself, and I hopefully will one day.
You're doing
on my birthday a couple years ago, I made Lord Brentwood watch that with me.
Did he love it or hate it?
He just thought it was weird because he's not as much of a movie artsy guy as me. So he was just like, "Oh, so they're lesbians now? Oh, okay."
No, she's a metaphor.
Well, to be fair, they were lesbians.
True, but the bitch is a metaphor.
Yes, she is a metaphor.
It's so good. It's so good. I feel like that and Eyes Wide Shut are sort of spiritual cousins.
Yeah, I could see that.
They're sort of similar themes, I guess, and similar ways of presenting them.
Yeah.
Are you a horror guy?
Yes. But I will say, not like schlocky, trashy slasher horror. I'm more
no
of a
slasher at all.
There are a couple I can get behind, but in general, I'm more of like atmospheric horror type.
See, I just love it all.
Okay.
Have you seen Terrifiers?
Because that's the other thing. I enjoy good writing, I enjoy good acting, and a lot of horror is neither. So that gets annoying.
It depends. I would say modern Blumhouse type horror is what you describe, but I think there's like, have you seen the Terrifier movies?
No, I haven't.
You have to, because they're so the first one is fine, but 2 and 3 are just next level, and it really is like the characterization and the writing and the acting that makes it next level, that they sort of, in the framework of what would be a schlocky slasher, get in a lot of bigger themes.
Gotcha.
You have to see it. If you're not like a hardcore horror person, though, it might unsettle you.
Okay. Yeah. No, the last movie I watched wasn't a horror, but it was disturbing and scary, but also funny. It was a Czechoslovak film called The Shop on Main Street.
I don't know that one. I'm looking this up.
Came out in 1965. And it's about a carpenter, because it takes place during World War II. So Nazi Germany had annexed the Sudetenland and split up Czechoslovakia into sort of the Czech area. I forget what the name that they had for it, and then the Slovak area. And so it takes place in that Slovak area, and it focuses on a carpenter who's kind of poor, and his brother-in-law is in the Nazi party. And so his brother-in-law decides to do him a favor and makes him the Aryan administrator for a little button shop on Main Street that's owned by an old Jewish woman. Because the Nazi party was before anything else, it was a giant, sprawling, confusing bureaucracy. And every shop that wasn't owned by an Aryan had to have an Aryan Nazi party administrator. So he was the guy to do that. And it's about how he develops this relationship with this old Jewish woman, and how that starts to change when the Nazi party starts rounding up the Jews in town to send them to concentration camps. I was really blown away. I was very impressed with this movie. And the last movie that really really made that kind of impression on me was I think from the same time period, but not the same year, the adaptation of Julius Caesar with Marlon Brando and James Mason.
I saw that so long ago, I don't remember.
Julius Caesar.
I'm obsessed with all these like documentaries. What's that?
James Mason. That's who it was. Marlon Brando and James Mason.
I'm obsessed with all these documentaries about like the making of troubled films and stuff. Like they did one about the island of Dr. Moreau with stage Marlon Brando being crazy and shit. Like that was a good ass documentary.
Do you know what that makes me think of? I do not recommend this movie because it has animal cruelty in it, and that is upsetting to people. So I don't recommend this.
That's the one thing I can't do.
Yeah, I'm just saying this movie exists, and it makes me think of this movie. Cannibal Holocaust.
I knew you were gonna say that. Yeah, that's one I can't do. I love I'm an animal lover.
Yeah, and I saw it because the Alamo Theater in Omaha was showing it, and I had heard about it. I'd never seen it. I will, before people get mad at me, I did not know there was animal cruelty in the movie when I bought my ticket. Okay, I just showed up because I knew that it was like the original found footage movie. So
I think it was for real
too. What's that?
I think it was for real too. It wasn't like fake animal cruelty.
Well, and the reason that the director did it for real is that this was the first ever found footage movie. And you have to remember, there were kind of two found footage movies before Blair Witch Project.
Mm-hmm.
And when Blair Witch Project came out, people thought that was real. There were still people who thought that was legitimate footage of some college kids who went missing in the woods.
Yeah.
And that was 99. So people had the internet. They could kind of look it up, but the internet was in its earlier stages where there would be these rumors that popped up on the internet, and there wasn't really a great way of disproving them or anything. So people thought Blair Witch Project was real. Cannibal Holocaust came out in 1980 something. And so there really was just no way of figuring out what happened to these folks. And not only that, but it's an Italian film. It came out in 1980. It's an Italian film. The director specifically was inspired by media manipulation in Italy during some like political turmoil, where the news would stage certain events and then report on them as if they were legitimate news stories. Gosh, does that sound familiar?
Yeah.
And so he wanted to make a movie about how susceptible we are to media influence and how they, media can make you believe anything. He included real animal cruelty in the movie, so that when you saw people die in the movie, you weren't sure if they got murdered for real or if it was just an effect. In fact, the director of the movie actually got tried in Italy for murder.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Because there was a scene where a woman gets impaled. They show her impaled, and it looks so real. They thought that they had actually done this for real to some woman in the Amazon. And so they had to show like B-roll footage of this young actress like getting in the rig, posing for the cameras to make it look like she was impaled, and then getting off the rig after to show that she was okay. And then the main actors in this found footage movie all had to sign contracts that said that for a year after the movie's release, they wouldn't do any public events.
That's amazing.
to build the illusion that they had actually, spoilers for the movie, to build the illusion that they had actually been murdered. So
you're making me want to watch it, but
so there was a lot of other factors that really made people believe that these folks had actually died, and they were watching that happen on screen. And part of it, and I don't agree with it, I don't think that this was a good thing to do. I'm just saying this is what he did. He included real animal cruelty in the movie to make it that much more believable when you see a person die in the movie.
You're making me want to watch it. Maybe I just like forward through those parts.
It is, I will say, it's pretty brief when it does happen. So if you get upset about it, you can just like fast forward a minute and you'll.
Oh, well, dude, I should probably start wrapping up. I don't want to.
God, it's been 2 hours.
No, this has been amazing. You got to come back on. I can't believe it's taken us way too long to do
I know,
this. I can't believe this is the first time. But this has been amazing. I'm honored you choose to spend your release day with us here.
Oh, thank you very much for having me on. I really appreciate it. And folks, if I will say, if the book doesn't quite sound like your cup of tea, I will say you have somebody in your life who is into dark, twisted, crime thrillers.
I'm somebody in your life. Buy it.
So
I'm the somebody in your life, and you probably know other people, so just trust me. It's so good. I'm going to update all of you as I continue reading it. I'm so excited. I'm loving it so far.
No spoilers. You're here.
No.
Don't ruin it for other people.
I'll give like a little.
DM me.
I will. I'll talk to you. I'll update you. But trust me, like I said, the link is below. Yes, Ramiro, dark twisted porn. That's what it is. He writes.
It's not pornographic. I'll say that it's not pornographic. Don't worry about that.
No, it's an erotic novel, and the link is below. That's why it was late, because the bitch gets pregnant in it, so it's called The Late.
Oh.
No, I'm kidding. But seriously, the link is below. So buy that shit. It's so good. Trust me on this. And also, follow him. Where can people follow you on the stuff?
You can follow me on Twitter at ChadManley007. Yeah, that's it. That's the only social media that I'm on. So
you're smart to just keep it to there. That's
yeah.
I should do the same. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. Like I said, subscribe to my stuff. I'll be live tomorrow with the Redheaded Libertarian watching, and just like that, it will be amazing torture. It will be absolutely torturous, and it'll be a good time. And I'll be live again on Friday with game night streaming. I think we're gonna do the Quarry and whatever else. Any requests you guys have for games? Are you much of a gamer, Seph?
I'm not actually.
Same. I'm like a basic bitch gamer.
Yeah. I miss Among Us. They ruined Among Us with like the wheel. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I've never played it. That's how basic I am.
Oh my god, no. Oh, Among Us was so much fun. And then they ruined it because people who shouldn't have been letting their kids play in the first place got mad that their kids were seeing dirty words on the chat. So it was stupid. But yeah, they killed their own game, and it's very upsetting. But
I don't understand why these games don't just have a box you can check for like over 18, under 18. Because I hate when you be playing one of these games that has a voice chat and there'll be like screaming kids in it.
Yeah. Well, they do. A lot of them do say like, hey, you have to be a certain age to play this game or whatever. But if all you have to do is check a box, then it's pretty easy to check a box if you're like 11.
That's true.
And it really is just like,
see, I play stupid Fortnite where there'll be like screaming 5-year-olds in your headphones, and I'm like, well, dude, thank you so much for being here, chat fam. Thank you guys for being here. Like I said, I was streaming the next 2 nights as well, and then I'll be back next week with another regular show. Follow this man, buy his book. He is the greatest. Like I said, support creative, independent, original, dissident based artists like this motherfucker right here. Buy his book. All right. Well, thank you guys for being here. I will see you soon. Bye.